let's check in with our very own Chief Meteorologist Dan Cianca this evening for a check on the weather. Good evening, Dan.
Well, good evening, Taryn. It's a beautiful day across the Central Coast today with warm temperatures, a lot of sunshine, a bit of a breeze off the water, but with all that sunshine, you might hardly notice it. Temperatures did get to the 70s today in Salinas and Watsonville. We've seen some cooling, so we're heading into the evening hours now with winds off the water now into the 60s. Monterey down to 63, but still 75 in Santa Cruz. A few of our inland locations are back in the 80s at this hour after a couple of days below that. But things will be changing tonight, and I wish I could tell you some rain was on the way, but an area of low pressure off to the north is beginning to dive into the region, and the area around it is a deep trough of low pressure. It's digging down the west coast. The jet stream itself just into northern California right now, but as it continues to move southward, we're going to continue to see the threat of some wind tonight. I do want to show you this. I think my graphic's frozen a little bit here, but I'm going to zoom out a bit for you really quick here. We can see this area of low pressure. It's up in the Pacific Northwest, and it is going to make the push down the coast overnight tonight into tomorrow. And as that happens, it's going to tighten the pressure gradients, and the winds are going to start to pick up a little bit. So let's talk about those winds overnight. And if you saw the beginning of our newscast tonight, our first weather story portion, we did talk about the alerts that are in place, which include wind advisories for the entire viewing area tomorrow, and also red flag warnings for the higher terrain across the viewing area. So the first red flag warning goes into effect tonight at 11 p.m., and that's for the Diablo Range in Santa Clara County. So we're talking this area right here. And notice the wind's not all that strong. We're talking single digits to teens for the most part, but as you start to get to 2 a.m. and all of a sudden the Santa Cruz Mountains now under the red flag warning as well. You see those winds picking up. We're talking 10 to 20 miles per hour up in the hills. And then by the time you get to 5 a.m., the rest of the higher terrain down south is added. We see the winds beginning to pick up there as well. So at first, most of this wind is going to be over the mountains. You're not going to notice it too much in the lower elevations overnight tonight, but if you live up on the ridge tops or if you're up there at all, you'll notice the winds picking up, and it's going to be very dry air moving in from the north. We're talking winds 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusting potentially higher than that, especially as we head into tomorrow afternoon. By 9 a.m., the entire viewing area goes under that wind advisory, and we see widespread winds. Few areas in the lower elevations may not see all that much wind tomorrow. If you get sheltered, if there's a hill to the north of you, you may not see a lot of wind, but most of us are going to be dealing with gusty winds throughout the day tomorrow. But it will be clear and it will be dry, not even any clouds expected during the day. Strongest winds I expect during the afternoon hours tomorrow. We see some 30s on the map here. King City, the Pinnacles, the higher terrain, Morgan Hill, especially up in the mountains, we're going to see those higher winds. And then tomorrow evening, those winds will die down a little bit. Over the peaks, they're going to keep going overnight to tomorrow night into Tuesday, and we'll get a little bit more wind in the valleys Tuesday. But the strongest winds are going to be tomorrow afternoon, and that's when we'll have the highest fire danger, especially for those higher elevations. So again, one thing you can do is just be alert. Make sure you're paying attention to what's going on outside. If you see smoke, make sure you alert authorities about that, and be prepared, especially if you live in the mountains around that dry vegetation, to leave your home if you have to tomorrow. Have that escape plan ready. Otherwise, tomorrow temperatures will be pretty mild with these fairly offshore winds for most locations. Will be the 70s in the Santa Cruz Mountains. East shore of the bay, upper 60s to 70s for the most part. Salinas right around 69. But if you get to the Monterey Peninsula and that wind comes right in off the bay, it's going to be chilly. So, Pacific Grove, you're going to be in the 50s tomorrow. In Monterey at 61. A little bit warmer in Carmel because you're sheltered by the hill there. And then down south, the Salinas Valley in the 60s and 70s. So tomorrow's temperatures under those sunny, dry conditions, not bad, but the wind is going to be the big story tomorrow. And it'll be breezy for the next couple of days. Another weather system will come by on Wednesday. That one will actually have a little moisture with it, and it'll bring some clouds, so I don't think we'll see any precipitation. Beyond that, it looks pretty calm outside of some chilly mornings for the rest of the week. And inland areas, you've got the wind for the next couple of days as well. The strongest will be tomorrow, though, but look at those morning lows Tuesday and Wednesday. It's going to be a pretty cold one. We already had a little bit of frost in the Hernandez Valley, I should say, yesterday morning, so that's going to be possible in some of the higher valleys in the south on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. But otherwise, outside of some fluctuating temperatures and the wind, not a bad forecast.